Trump has yet again been indicted by the Biden DOJ, a political party in power that is now repeatedly using police force to indict and arrest and potentially eliminate its political opponents from competition. This is a politicized prosecution. It is a political persecution through prosecution, now in a third indictment just in a matter of months against the person who is still at present the lead contender in the Republican primary for U.S. president. I want to be very clear. I am running for U.S. president in that same Republican primary. It would be easier for me if Donald Trump were eliminated from competition. That's not how I want to win. This is not about politics to me. This is about first principles. We do not want to become a country where the party in power is able to use banana republic-like tactics to eliminate its political opponents. Yet I'm sad to say that's exactly where we are. The allegations in this indictment fall flat. It is wrong and incorrect and inaccurate to place blame for what happened on January 6th at the feet of Donald Trump. I said this at the time. I've said it ever since then. I continue to say it today. I would not have made the same judgments that Donald Trump did in how he handled that day. But that's different from saying that he committed a crime. He did not. He specifically told the protesters that day to behave peacefully. The First Amendment in this country gives political protesters the ability to express themselves and their opinions freely. Donald Trump was not responsible for what happened on January 6th. You want to know what was responsible? I said this in the days after January 6, 2021, just as I say it today. Systematic, pervasive censorship in this country. That was after a year where we had told people across this nation that you had to stay locked down in your house, in your basement, and shut up, sit down, do as you're told. If you question that, you're racist, you're anti-science, your social media accounts were silenced. You had to stay home and lock down unless you were part of BLM or Antifa, in which case it was perfectly fine to roam the streets of this country and burn many of them down. That was the double standard that then applied and said that if you said the virus originated in a lab in Wuhan, you were again a racist and had your internet accounts shut down. You were then told you had an election where you could express yourself to put the right person in charge of fixing these problems. And instead, your accounts were suppressed if you sent a mere message saying that the Hunter Biden laptop story from the New York Post was real. You had your accounts locked. Even the New York Post had its own account locked. And if you repeatedly then tell people they cannot speak, that is when they scream. If you repeatedly tell people they cannot scream, that is when they tear things down. And I think we are making a grave mistake in this country by trying to pin the blame for that at the feet of one man. If we refuse to learn our mistakes from our mistakes in the past, we are doomed to suffer an even worse fate in the future. I worry that will create a country where January 6, 2021 was a friendly parlay compared to what's actually to come. I'm running for president to make sure we don't march towards some kind of national divorce. But the first and most important step that we as candidates can take in this race is to speak and speak forcefully on the side of principle, to say that even if we're competing against Donald Trump, as I am, I do not want to see him eliminated from competition using these politicized tactics. It is wrong for our country. It is wrong for our future. I call on my fellow candidates to condemn it, and I call on President Biden to do the right thing and drop these politicized charges. That's going to be a first step towards uniting our country.
Welcome to a special edition, a Tuesday edition of the Post-Duopoly Show. I'm with RBN. What's up? I'm CJ. What's up, Nick?
What's poppin', my friends, my family? We're back after a fantastic labor and organizer summit. I had to take yesterday off. I was trying to give you guys some time to catch up because I know we came up with so much heat in one day. I was like, I'm gonna let you guys marinate. I'm gonna let you guys sit on that. So we are back and we are here with our post-duopoly brothers. That's an interesting clip. It's The Republican field is divided in two ways, and I want to get Kid thought. I'll pass to Kid first, because I want to get your thoughts on this indictment. But the field is broken into the liberal media plant, the people like Chris Christie, the others who repeat every single Democratic Party talking point, and then the other half of the field are the people who are trying to be Trump's cabinet picks. That's now this guy's on Trump. Everything I've seen from that guy, people are like, have you seen this guy VJ or whatever? I'm like, no, I'm not interested. Yeah. You're like, check him out, man. He got some interesting ideas. I looked into this guy. He run to be Trump cabinet pick. Anyway, go ahead, kid.
Well, I mean, obviously, look, this whole indictment is one big distraction because so many people are triggered by Donald Trump and him winning 2016. This is petty revenge. And for the most part, it is one big distraction. It doesn't matter who sits on the throne, Democrat or Republican. You want to know who has the final say after all the debates and the last votes are counted. It's Wall Street, it's the banks, it's the hedge fund managers. You think you, the average citizen, are going to sit at the table with the president of the United States? Gone are the days where the executive, the commander-in-chief, can dictate what they want to do for this country. No, they got to run it by the rich corporate elite, okay? This is how it's always been done. So everyone that's screaming, yay, Trump's indictment, okay, fine. There's a 50-50 chance that man could walk away from it and he comes out stronger. Or guess what? It still doesn't matter because Wall Street's going to still stick it up our wazoo. So what are you celebrating? You're going to brunch for what? People are still starving. People are still broke. The fact, the amount of ignorance in this country, I sometimes am still shocked, like how much further are people deluded into the fact of thinking that Team Red or Team Blue has your best interest at heart? How stupid are our people? Because honest to God, the corporate propaganda, it's impressive just how effectively they've brainwashed people and thinking that this is okay. Rachel Maddow, even as we speak right now, is doing a big MSNBC televised special about Trump indictment. Okay, and tomorrow it's still going to be the same corrupt neoliberal system. How does this impact me? I don't care who sits in the White House. I care about the social issues in which are being denied to the American people. That's what I care about. I don't care about Democrats or Republicans. And vote blue no matter who, and diehard Trump supporters. I got one word for you. You're a bunch of suckers.
CJ, do you remember the name of that black guy who went to Ukraine, that liberal guy that everyone loved?
Yeah,
Malcolm Nance. Malcolm Nance. I'm going to pass it to the kid. I'm going to look at, I saw this earlier. I didn't save it. But this sums up the entire liberal. Here it is. I pulled this up. Yeah, but check this out, guys. Speaking of what kids talking about, this is the greatest day for liberals right now because they are very shallow. But this is Malcolm Nance. I'll blank on the guy's name, but this is the guy who famously went to Ukraine. And everyone at Ukraine hated his ass. They was like, "Get this dude out of here!" The fuck is he doing?
I saw him do a special where he's like, hang on, I think I hear missiles, and he's looking around. Listen, I did service in Iraq, not once, but twice. When you hear stuff like that, you're not like, oh, where is it? No, you seek shelter right away, you jackass. Stupid man. Oh, where is it? Where is it?
Let's get Keaton in. Let's get Keaton in here.
Go ahead, Keaton.
Yeah, I mean, first take on the Trump indictment. What is this? This is the fourth indictment, the third of what looks to be four coming in. I don't know if the third one was officially filed before this one. It looks like he's going to be facing four indictments. Yeah, look, I think all these indictments at a certain point might potentially add up in like the general electorate's mind. I think Trump is probably the only Republican who could conceivably lose to Biden, and he might lose to Biden. I think it's 50-50. There's a New York Times poll that said it was tied. I think given the normies' stranglehold on the electoral process, I think 2024 is a very, very difficult race to call at this point. I think anything can happen. Who knows? We could have another crisis situation, break out early 2024 that can change the whole game. So, there's that angle. And then there's the angle of it doesn't seem like Trump is capable of losing the lead in the Republican primary. So it looks like it's just going to be Trump versus Biden. It looks like a 50-50 race as far as I can see. If we believe in the deep state, as I know we all do, crazy conspiracy theorists that we are, it's hard to imagine they would allow him back in the White House. It's just hard to imagine they would allow it, given everything they're throwing at him, right? Which is why I think, things like the labor summit that you guys did over the weekend are so important. Because when you hear someone like Sharma talk, you think, okay, this gives us some direction. This gives us a purpose. This gives us a plan. Just labor organizing, workers organizing at their place of work against capital, right? That provides the framework for a coherent struggle. This electoral politics thing, man, this presidential election, who the fuck knows? Who the fuck knows at this point? I just feel like anything can happen because it looks like he's poised to win the nomination, but it looks like these shadowy people, these deep state people will pull out all the stops to prevent him from getting back into that White House. What's the alternative? Biden? We just had our credit rating, our investor credit rating lowered. We're no longer a AAA credit rating. We got downgraded by Fitch to AA+. That would sink any incumbent. And no incumbent would have a chance at winning again if that happened under their watch. Because it looks like Trump is invincible in the primary, but it looks like the deep state and everybody else has it so out for him, it looks like it's going to be Trump-Biden, in which case Biden could win. It's a very, very unpredictable situation from where I'm looking at it. I know some people feel more confident predicting one way or another. I really see it as 50-50.
Doesn't it feel good?
Yeah,
to be invested in this anymore. I'll pass it to you, CJ.
Well, yeah, sure, absolutely, absolutely.
Like, no matter who
I mean,
wins,
you'd be biting your nails, like exactly. Like if you were really invested on one of these sides, you wouldn't know what the fuck to do right now. You wouldn't know.
I'll
what
be
to think.
sweating bullets if I was a Trump
right.
supporter. Or if I was a Biden supporter, I'll be nervous every goddamn day. But it doesn't feel good. Like, if Biden wins, I'm gonna laugh at Trump supporters. If Trump wins, I'm gonna laugh at Biden supporters. But sorry, go ahead, CJ. I'll pass it to you.
Let's play a couple of clips and talk a little more about this Trump indictment and the giddiness of liberals. But the thing is, it doesn't matter how many indictments he gets if he gets elected. Like it literally doesn't make a difference how many indictments he get because they all go away. At least for the time being that he's in office. That's why it's so important to keep him out of office. This is why they're so frustrated with the numbers. Like you said, the New York Times poll, I should say, just came out this morning, 43-43. Go ahead, Nick, if you're going to say something.
CJ, that's why when they do their own propaganda reviews, they are so frustrated. And that's what they really
are.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
Well, they're like,
it's like getting an F.
Yeah, they're like, you see them headlines. We covered a few of them, and you covered it as well. Despite the indictments, Donald Trump hasn't fall in the polls yet. That's them reviewing their own propaganda. Like, damn, why isn't this shit working? No one cares. But go ahead, CJ.
All right, so let's play a couple of clips. They're all pretty short, so let's listen to this first one.
We're getting some updates now. We just want to cross back to Ken Delaney, who has some breaking news for us. We understand that Donald Trump, former president of the United States, has now been indicted on 4 counts in relation to the attempt to overturn our election. Ken?
That's right, Eamon. Donald Trump, the 45th president of the United States, has been indicted by a grand jury in Washington, D.C. on 4 criminal counts. I haven't been able to read the indictment yet, but I saw the cover sheet. And the counts include obstruction of an official proceeding and conspiracy to defraud the United States. More as we get it. We're going to dig into it right now. But Donald J. Trump, the former president of the United States, has been indicted tonight by a grand jury in Washington, D.C. in this long-running investigation about efforts to attempt to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Amen.
We're getting some
update. If you thought that when you turn on cable news, it's wall-to-wall Trump. I don't know how they can fit more Trump into their segments. No, they're going to do it, though. Go ahead.
Well, see, here's the thing. In 2016, Trump was this huge injection for corporate media because before 2015, corporate media across the board, including Fox News, were hemorrhaging viewership. They were going under. They were collapsing under their own weight. They need Trump. And dare I say, I'll go one step further. Secretly, probably all these reporters are hoping he wins his indictment so they can keep on covering him. He's the drug that they need to remain relevant. He's the only thing that's keeping them afloat. Without Trump, they're gone. So if Trump is ever held accountable and if he's ever arrested or whatever, if it's the end of him, that's also the end of corporate media. They need him, and that's how pathetic the system is. And the thing is, too, everyone that's rooting for this, including the liberals, you do realize that Trump supporters aren't going to disappear in the night, right? That they're going to remember this. Yeah. And that they're going to want to do the same thing to, surprise, surprise, Democrats, including a person who's very senile named Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden, who have scandals flying around themselves. So we're going to see a back and forth fight between oligarchs and these dynastic families in both the Democratic and Republican parties, because this is all what they have. All the while, hey, guess what? Average citizen, average voter, you do realize you're still going to be starving, right? So, like, get ready to grab the popcorn and watch the establishment fight itself. But at the same time, too, we got to get ready to take care of ourselves, because this is going to be front and center. Trains derailing, going to be ignored. People starving in the streets, going to be ignored. People dying of curable ailments, going to be ignored. But Trump, it's going to be front and center. And, of course, protecting Biden from any sort of, quote-unquote, impeachment hearing or inquiry. That's what we're going to see front and center in corporate media. It's going to be Trump, Biden impeachment, Trump indictment. That's it.
And let's play this other clip. This is him explaining the charges, I believe. I haven't actually heard it. I just found it right when during the intro video. So let's hear it from the prosecutor.
Good evening. Today, an indictment was unsealed.
God, this guy.
J. Trump, conspiring to defraud the United States, conspiring to disenfranchise voters, and conspiring and attempting to obstruct an official proceeding. The indictment was issued by a grand jury of citizens here in the District of Columbia, and it sets forth the crimes charged in detail. I encourage everyone to read it in full. The attack on our nation's capital on January 6th, 2021 was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy. Described in the indictment.
Heaven forbid. It looks like he's about to cry.
Just quick pause, CJ, just quick. Real quick. So when you watch segments on MSNBC and we hear liberals talk about this, they speak about this as if it's a fact that it's not political. Here's the fucking prosecutor guy, isn't it? He repeating liberal talking points over January 6th. Yeah. Most Americans are not talking about January 6th like it's the biggest attack in American democracy history. That guy going after Trump looks and is definitely political.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Go ahead, Keenan.
Yeah,
but that's my point. Go ahead.
No, I think that's right. I mean, no one cares about this outside of the people who watch TV. No one.
I don't care about
it. The real question is how many of the swing voters who decide these close races in these close states are hooked in to this kind of media. I mean, that's what we've been seeing over the past few cycles. We've seen outsized influence from those affluent, white, moderate, conservative-leaning independents. And this kind of stuff, it makes a difference with them. So, look, we're living in two different political realities here. One is the sort of real world, sort of on the ground material conditions, if you will. And then the second is this fake world that most of the voters live in, unfortunately. That's what makes electoral politics so hard to figure out. It's very, very hard to predict how it'll go, because I feel like we're just living in two different universes.
The dude sounds exactly like Joe Scarborough and Hakeem Jeffries when it comes to January 6th, but people want us to think this is not political. Like, he sounds exactly like Democrat propagandists. You have only one faction in America that believes in the January 6th narrative, and that's Democrats. Independents, independent left, independent right, and Republicans. Literally everyone else except neoliberal Democrat looks at January 6th like, this is ridiculous. Meanwhile, here's the guy who's prosecuting, going after Donald Trump, repeating the same shit here on MSNBC, but they want us to think that this is a neutral case of the law. Get out of here, but go ahead, CJ.
Let's listen to more.
Targeted at obstructing a bedrock function of the U.S. government, the nation's process of collecting, counting, and certifying the results of the presidential election. The men and women of law enforcement who defended the U.S. Capitol on January 6th are heroes.
Ah,
They're patriots and they're the very best.
God.
They did not just defend a building or the people sheltering in it. They put their lives in the line to defend who we are as a country and as a people.
This guy sounds like he's about to run for president. At the end of this speech, he's going to be like, and I have an announcement to make, my fellow Americans.
He looks like he's about to cry.
Is it the same people that showed? Is it the same officers that showed those people around? You know, the Tucker Carlson videos that he put out about January 6th? Like, is that
tour
what,
guide
is
cops,
that who he's talking? Yeah, the tour guide people. Is that who he's talking about?
I also want to point out, like, he looks like a more disheveled version of Hunter Biden, man. Like,
he does have similar features.
Even Hunter Biden looks more put together than this guy. Come on.
You said a disheveled version of Hunter Biden.
How you put that on?
I was like, said a disheveled version of a crackhead. That's like, how are you?
Well, that's what Hunter Biden is, buddy.
How are you that? That's crazy. That's crazy. Dirt on top of dirt, you know, like what does that mean? Let's continue.
Since the attack on our Capitol, the Department of Justice has remained committed to ensuring accountability for those criminally responsible for what happened that day. This case is brought consistent with that commitment, and our investigation of other individuals continues. In this case, my office will seek a speedy trial so that our evidence can be tested in court and judged by a jury of citizens. In the meantime, I must emphasize that the indictment is only an allegation and that the defendant must be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. I would like to thank the members of the Federal Bureau of Investigation who are working on this investigation with my office, as well as the many career prosecutors and law enforcement agents from around the country who have worked on previous January 6th investigations.
This is what they want us to believe, how this is not political. You have Donald Trump, a career criminal. Career. Right. Literally, they could have brought charges on numerous charges about many other things 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. This guy is dirty and corrupt. It is well known and documented with this guy. They could have did this a long time ago if it was about truth and justice. It's so telling that all of these charges are culminating within a year of an election. And they want to act like this is just a coincidence. Like, get the fuck out of here. The guy's been a criminal for 70 years. And then all of a sudden, a year before the election, now you want to be like, yeah, let's get him. Let's pin him to the wall. It's like, it's not believable. Even in this press conference, as you alluded to, I think it was Nick that said it. Like, even it's dripping with propaganda. It's dripping with like raw meat for liberals instead of like just facts. Like Robert Mueller, like just kind of like facts on top of facts, just like straight line, straight lace, I should say. But this guy is like adding in this extra salsa on top for the base, and then I guess that's what Malcolm Nance is cheersing to in that photo. But I'll pass it to the panel.
No, these people just act. This speaks to what Kit was talking about earlier. You know, about how quality of life for ordinary people is going to continue to deteriorate. But, you know, people like Malcolm Nance, people who are all giddy now, getting their Xanax and white wine ready to go sit on the couch and watch Rachel Maddow for the next hour.
They're
you know, like
right now.
They don't give a shit. They nothing is at stake for them. This is what I mean when I say there's two different political realities going on, because I feel like the people who are dominating the electoral space are the people with nothing really at stake in the outcome. Yeah. And I think if there's opportunity to do anything constructive with this 2024 race, it is to get as many votes in that third party column as we possibly can, and just let the chips fall where they may. So that would be my take on that.
My take is in alignment to what Kean just stated. Look, this tells me we need to redouble and triple our efforts for a third party candidate. And I'll go a step further, even though I don't politically align with them. Look for the Greens and the Libertarians to get as much votes as possible that will be in the double digits in the general election, so that we have the recognition of not one but potentially two political parties. And I understand Libertarians may not agree with us fully, but I want to see the absolute destruction of the two-party system and to see it overhauled. And wherever the chips may fall, be it a Biden victory or a Trump presidency or Republican presidency, whatever may come from this indictment and the aftermath of it, it tells me that I need to invest fully into my beliefs of third parties and supporting third party candidates and ensuring that we break away from voting Democrat and Republican. Gone are the days of just being subservient to this system, because if this is how it's going to be, Democrats are holding the Republican president or former Republican president accountable, and then vice versa, the Republicans doing the same. It tells me that they're still okay with the rest of us starving. They're still okay with the rest of us being denied opportunities such as owning a home, having free education, the security of not going medically bankrupt. To those who want to defend it and vote Democrat and Republican, it tells me you're still a puppet and that you're not ready to have an adult conversation. So I will treat you like a moron. I won't call you a moron, but I will treat you like one until you're ready to talk to me like an adult.
Kid, man, you don't understand. This is the most important election of our lifetime. Don't you understand?
It is? Oh, shoot. Oh, well, then let me register as Democrat right now.
I know I know we got to fight for this democracy. I know we said this last time, but this is the most important election of our lifetime. So you sound like a madman because you're going to allow a fascist to get in the White House by not voting for the other fascists. Right? This is the split in DSA. We're going to cover this probably a little later, where they said we got to weigh the harm that Trump is going to do on the working class.
Oh, we
got endorsed
DSA. Oh, no, I can't wait for us to get to the DSA story, because I got a little flashback about DSA and them being so pure and holier than thou, because they're not. And I can't wait. I can't wait till we get to that, because there'll be story time with Kit Kat.